The large meeting room fell silent as Ambassador John Carter stepped forward. His footsteps echoed across the polished floor. 12 alien representatives watched him from their high seats. Each one looked different. Some had scales. Others had too many eyes, and a few glowed with strange colors. Carter kept his head high despite his racing heart. "People of Earth, come in peace," he said, his voice strong and clear. "We wish to join your galactic conclave and learn from your wisdom." It was the year 2157, and humans had finally developed the technology to travel between stars. Finding the conclave had been both exciting and frightening. Humans were not alone in the universe. They were just one of many intelligent species. The tallest alien leaned forward. Its skin looked like blue glass, and its voice sounded like bells. "We have studied your species for many years, Ambassador Carter. We find humans concerning." Carter smiled nervously. "We are eager to learn and improve. We have overcome many challenges on our world." "That is precisely what troubles us," said another alien whose body seemed made of twisting vines. "Your species thrives on conflict. You advance through crisis and war. This makes you unpredictable." The room's air grew colder. Carter looked at his team, scientists and diplomats who had trained for years for this moment. Dr. Mary Wells, Earth's leading biologist, stepped forward to help. "All species evolve through challenges," she explained. "Humans have made mistakes, but we have also created art, music, and have deep capacity for love and cooperation." The aliens whispered among themselves in strange languages. The screens around the room showed images from Earth's history, both the good and the bad. Beautiful music played alongside pictures of wars. Scientific discoveries appeared next to environmental damage. The blue glass alien raised a hand, and the images stopped. "We have reached our decision." Carter felt hope rise in his chest. "The species known as humans shall be quarantined to their home system." The words hit like ice water. "Quarantined? But why?" Carter asked, his voice breaking. "Your evolutionary path is incompatible with galactic harmony," explained a small, round alien with 3 eyes. "You solve problems in ways that create new dangers. You adapt too quickly. You take risks that endanger others." The conclave's sovereign executor, a being of swirling light and shadow, moved to the center of the room. "The Sol system will be enclosed by barrier technology. No human vessels may travel beyond your outer planet. This is not punishment but protection, for you and for others." "You can't do this," shouted Commander Frank Peters, the military advisor on Earth's team. "You have no right to cage us." Several guards moved forward, their weapons humming with energy. "Please control your colleague, Ambassador," said the blue alien. "This reaction confirms our concerns." Carter raised his hand to stop Peters. "How long will this quarantine last?" "Until you evolve beyond your primitive nature," said the executor, "or expire as all volatile species eventually do. This meeting is concluded." Within days, massive alien ships positioned themselves beyond Pluto. They activated strange devices that created an invisible wall around the entire solar system. Earth ships that tried to pass through it were pushed back by forces they couldn't understand. On the flight home, Carter stared out at the stars that were now forbidden to humanity. "What do we tell everyone back home?" asked Dr. Wells. Carter's face hardened. "We tell them that the large meeting room fell silent as Ambassador John Carter stepped forward. His footsteps echoed across the polished floor. 12 alien representatives watched him from their high seats. Each one looked different. Some had scales, others had too many eyes, and a few glowed with strange colors. Carter kept his head high despite his racing heart. "People of Earth, come in peace," he said, his voice strong and clear. "We wish to join your galactic conclave and learn from your wisdom." It was the year 2157, and humans had finally developed the technology to travel between stars. Finding the conclave had been both exciting and frightening. Humans were not alone in the universe. They were just one of many intelligent species. The tallest alien leaned forward. Its skin looked like blue glass, and its voice sounded like bells. "We have studied your species for many years, Ambassador Carter. We find humans concerning." Carter smiled nervously. "We are eager to learn and improve. We have overcome many challenges on our world." "That is precisely what troubles us," said another alien whose body seemed made of twisting vines. "Your species thrives on conflict. You advance through crisis and war. This makes you unpredictable." The room's air grew colder. Carter looked at his team, scientists and diplomats who had trained for years for this moment. Dr. Mary Wells, Earth's leading biologist, stepped forward to help. "All species evolve through challenges," she explained. "Humans have made mistakes, but we have also created art, music, and have deep capacity for love and cooperation." The aliens whispered among themselves in strange languages. The screens around the room showed images from Earth's history, both the good and the bad. Beautiful music played alongside pictures of wars. Scientific discoveries appeared next to environmental damage. The blue glass alien raised a hand and the images stopped. "We have reached our decision." Carter felt hope rise in his chest. "The species known as humans shall be quarantined to their home system." The words hit like ice water. "Quarantined? But why?" Carter asked, his voice breaking. "Your evolutionary path is incompatible with galactic harmony," explained a small, round alien with 3 eyes. "You solve problems in ways that create new dangers. You adapt too quickly. You take risks that endanger others." The conclave's sovereign executor, a being of swirling light and shadow, moved to the center of the room. "The Sol system will be enclosed by barrier technology. No human vessels may travel beyond your outer planet. This is not punishment but protection, for you and for others." "You can't do this," shouted Commander Frank Peters, the military advisor on Earth's team. "You have no right to cage us." Several guards moved forward, their weapons humming with energy. "Please control your colleague, Ambassador," said the blue alien. "This reaction confirms our concerns." Carter raised his hand to stop Peters. "How long will this quarantine last?" "Until you evolve beyond your primitive nature," said the executor, "or expire as all volatile species eventually do." This meeting is concluded. Within days, massive alien ships positioned themselves beyond Pluto. They activated strange devices that created an invisible wall around the entire solar system. Earth ships that tried to pass through it were pushed back by forces they couldn't understand. On the flight home, Carter stared out at the stars that were now forbidden to humanity. "What do we tell everyone back home?" asked Dr. Wells. Carter's face hardened. "We tell them the truth. The galaxy has judged us and found us wanting. They expect us to either change completely or die out quietly." "And what will we do?" asked Peters, who had been quiet since his outburst. Carter looked at each member of his team. "We prove them wrong. They've given us a challenge, and if there's one thing humans are good at, it's overcoming challenges. They may have closed the door on us today, but that doesn't mean we can't find a window tomorrow." As Earth came into view, blue and beautiful, Carter made a silent promise. This was not the end of humanity's journey to the stars, it was just the beginning. A truth. The galaxy has judged us and found us wanting. They expect us to either change completely or die out quietly. "And what will we do?" asked Peters, who had been quiet since his outburst. Carter looked at each member of his team. "We prove them wrong. They've given us a challenge, and if there's one thing humans are good at, it's overcoming challenges. They may have closed the door on us today, but that doesn't mean we can't find a window tomorrow." As Earth came into view, blue and beautiful, Carter made a silent promise. This was not the end of humanity's journey to the stars, it was just the beginning. 5 years passed in secret work. Dr. Lisa Reeves and Captain Alan Blackwood gathered a small team of trusted people. They worked in an old mining base on the dark side of the moon, away from watching eyes. The world government didn't know what they were doing. If they did, they would stop them. Many leaders were afraid to make the aliens angry. Lisa worked day and night on her Phantom drive. The device would turn a ship into energy for a short time, energy that could slip through the alien barrier. Alan rebuilt his ship in secret. He renamed it the UES Defiance. "Will it work?" Alan asked one night. He stood in the lab, looking at the strange machine Lisa had built. "In theory," Lisa said. She looked tired. Her hair had more gray now. "We won't know until we try." "And if it doesn't work?" Lisa shrugged. "Then we hit the barrier and bounce off, or we blow up. Either way, we'll know." They needed more than just the two of them. Alan knew who to call. Grace Martinez was the best quantum engineer on Earth. She had tried to study the barrier when it first appeared, but was told to stop. "This is crazy," she said when Alan showed her their base. Then she smiled. "I'm in." Peter. Collins could understand alien languages better than anyone. He had spent years studying the few recordings from the meeting with the conclave. "They never expected us to try to get out," he said. "That's our advantage. Sam Washington was a soldier and pilot who had lost his family when riots broke out after the quarantine. I've got nothing left here," he told Alan. "I'll fly your ship. Into hell if it means a chance to spit in the aliens' faces." The day of the test came. The five of them sat in the bridge of the Defiance. The ship was small but fast, with hidden weapons and strong shields. "Everyone ready?" Alan asked from the captain's chair. "Drive is powered up," Lisa said from her station. Her hand shook slightly. "Course set for the barrier," Sam confirmed. "All systems green," Grace reported. Peter just nodded. He was recording everything they said. Their story would be told someday, whether they lived or died. The Defiance lifted, off from the moon base. It flew fast and quiet, using no radio. They didn't want Earth's defense system to see them. The ship raced toward the edge of the solar system, toward the invisible wall that had held humanity prisoner for 25 years. "Barrier in sight," Sam said. On the screen, they could see a faint shimmer where natural space ended and alien technology began. "Activate Phantom Drive," Alan ordered. Lisa pressed a series of buttons. The ship began to hum. A strange feeling washed over everyone, like they were falling and floating at the same time. "It's working," Lisa whispered. "We're converting to energy state." The view outside changed. The stars stretched into lines. The barrier ahead seemed to thin out, becoming a web with holes instead of a solid wall. "Full speed," Alan said. The ship shot forward. For a moment everything went black. No one could see or hear or feel. Then with a jolt, the world came back. The stars looked normal again. "Did we make it?" Grace asked. Sam checked his instruments. "We're pay." The Defiance flew through space for 3 weeks. They jumped from place to place using the Phantom Drive, staying ahead of the conclave ships that hunted them. The crew was tired but excited. They were the first humans to see stars beyond their solar system in 25 years. "Where are we?" Alan asked, looking at the star map. "About 40 light-years from Earth," Sam answered. "In a region the aliens call the Outer Rim." Peter studied the alien signals they had been picking up. "The conclave doesn't come here much. They consider it unimportant." "Perfect place for us then," Alan said with a smile. Grace pointed to a small yellow star on the map. "I'm picking up strange energy readings from that system, similar to the barrier around Earth, but different." "Another quarantine?" Lisa wondered. Alan nodded. "Let's find out." The Defiance approached the yellow star carefully. It had 4 planets. The second one was green and blue, like Earth, and around the whole system was a faint shimmer. Another barrier. "We're being scanned," Grace warned. "Open communications," Alan ordered. "Tell them we mean no harm. We're explorers." Peter sent the message in several languages. For a long minute, there was no reply. Then a voice came through, speaking broken English. "You, not conclave. What are you?" "We are humans from planet Earth," Alan answered. "We escaped our quarantine." There was another pause. Then, "Come. Safe passage offered. Follow signal." The Defiance followed a beacon down to the planet's surface. They landed in a clearing surrounded by tall purple trees. Outside, the air tested safe to breathe. The crew stepped out of their ship and saw strange figures approaching. The aliens, looked almost like tall, thin humans, but their skin was pale blue and their eyes were large and silver. They moved gracefully, almost floating. One stepped forward. "I am Keltor, leader of Azuri people." His voice was musical. "You are truly not Conclave." "We are not," Alan confirmed. "We were imprisoned by them, just like you seem to be." Keltor nodded slowly. "Many cycles ago, Conclave came. Said Azuri too. Unpredictable. Too creative. Put wall around our stars." Lisa stepped forward. "We broke through our wall. We can help you break through yours." Keltor's silver eyes widened. "Show how." The humans and Azuri talked for many hours. The Azuri were a peaceful people who loved art and music. They had advanced technology but no weapons. The Conclave had quarantined them because they created things the Conclave could not understand or control. "You not first visitors," Keltor told them. "Others come, others trapped by Conclave." "Other quarantined species?" Peter asked, excited. Keltor nodded. "We speak sometimes, through small holes in wall, share stories, share anger." Alan looked at his crew, then back at Keltor. "How many others are there? How many species has the Conclave locked away?" "Many," Keltor said. "Dozens we know, maybe more." That night the crew of the Defiance talked about what they had learned. "We're not alone," Lisa said. "There are others like us out there." "Others who might help us," Grace added. "Who might want freedom as much as we do." Alan paced the room. The Conclave is afraid of species they can't control, so they lock them away and forget about them. "What if all those species worked together?" Sam suggested. "What if we united?" Peter nodded eagerly. "The Azuri have technology we don't. We have military knowledge they don't. Together we could be stronger than either of us alone," Alan finished. The next day, they met with Keltor again. Alan proposed an alliance, the beginning of what they would call the Outcast Coalition. Humans would share their phantom drive technology. The Azuri would share their advanced energy systems. "This just first step," Keltor said. "Need more friends, more outcasts." "We'll find them," Alan promised. "Together we'll build something the Conclave never expected, a coalition of the Banished. And someday, we'll show the galaxy that they were wrong about all of us." As the Defiance prepared to leave carrying Azuri ambassadors to help contact other quarantined species, a new chapter in human history began. Earth was no longer alone in its defiance. Steep Pluto's orbit. "We're out." They all stared at the screen in silence. They had done it. Humans had broken out of their prison. Then alarms started to blare. "Multiple energy signatures activating," Grace shouted. "All around us." The barrier had sensors. They had triggered them when they passed through. The alien guards knew someone had escaped. "They're coming," Peter said, translating the alien signals the ship was picking up. "They're calling us fugitives, demanding we surrender." Alan looked at his crew. They had known this might happen. They had discussed what to do. "Prepare for phantom jump," he ordered. "We're not going back." The Defiance disappeared into the depths of space just as alien ships arrived. For the first time in a quarter century, humans were free among the stars. The real journey was just beginning. 10 years passed. The small alliance between humans and the Azuri grew into something much bigger. They called it the Outcast Coalition. 17 different species joined together, all of them locked away by the Conclave for being too dangerous or too unpredictable. The phantom drive technology spread throughout the coalition. More ships slipped through the barriers around quarantined worlds. They built hidden bases in empty star systems and hollow asteroids where the Conclave rarely looked. Back on Earth, things changed too. The government finally admitted what Lisa and Alan had done. At first, they were angry, but when the Defiance returned with alien allies and new technology, minds began to change. Major Kate Daniels became the leader of Earth's growing space fleet. She was young, but smart, with new ideas about how ships should work together. "We can't fight like old navies. she told her captains. We need to be like water, flowing around obstacles impossible to grab or hold. She created a new way for ships to work together. Each captain could make their own choices, but they all shared the same goals. They practiced fighting in small groups that could split apart and come back together when needed. Meanwhile, a human spy named Ethan Cruz did something no one thought possible. He changed his appearance using Azuri technology and snuck onto a conclave world. He looked enough like one of their servant species to avoid questions. For 6 months, he worked as a cleaner in a big conclave building where leaders met. He listened to their talks and copied their secret files. When he finally returned to the coalition, what he learned scared everyone. They're planning to destroy us, he told the coalition leaders. All of us. They call it the final solution for quarantined species. He showed them the plans. The conclave had been watching quarantined worlds and noticed that many were advancing too quickly. Earth especially worried them. They decided to end the threat by sending huge ships to sterilize each world, killing all life on them. How long do we have? Alan asked. He was older now, with gray in his beard, but still captain of the Defiance. 6 months, maybe less, Ethan answered. They're preparing the ships now. The coalition leaders gathered in their main base, hidden inside a hollow moon. Representatives from all 17 species argued about what to do. We should attack first, said the Volari delegate, whose people were warriors. We should hide deeper, where they cannot find us, argued the Nim representative, whose people had always avoided conflict. Lisa, now head of coalition science, spoke up. We need to know how they communicate. Their ships must talk to each other to coordinate such a big attack. This gave the coalition's tech experts an idea. They studied the conclave data that Ethan had stolen. They discovered that all conclave ships and bases connected to central communication hubs. These hubs were the key to their power. If we can disable or control these hubs, Kate explained, we can blind them, maybe even feed them false information. The coalition built a plan. They would not wait to be attacked. They would defend the quarantined worlds before the conclave could reach them. This will reveal us to the entire galaxy, Alan warned. Once we do this, there's no going back. The conclave will know the coalition exists. Better they know us as defenders than remember us as victims, Kate replied. As the meeting ended, news arrived that made their choice clear. Conclave warships were already moving toward 3Q. The coalition moved fast. 3 conclave death fleets were heading toward quarantined worlds. They had to stop them all at the same time. Admiral Alan Blackwood, now commander of the Human Shadow Fleet, looked at the map one last time. The conclave ships were big and powerful but slow. His ships were smaller but faster. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth, he told the captains on the screen. We're fighting for all worlds the conclave decided to throw away. The plan was risky. They would split into 3 groups to protect the 3 worlds under attack. The largest group, led by Alan in the Defiance, would head to the system facing the biggest threat. No one dies today who doesn't have to, he added. Disable their ships if possible. Show them we're better than they think we are. The phantom drives hummed as the coalition fleet jumped into action. 50 ships made from parts of 17 different worlds, crewed by beings who had all been told they weren't good enough for the galaxy. They were about to prove that judgment wrong. Alan's group arrived at the Teller system just as the conclave ships were moving into position. The Tellarians didn't even know they were about to be destroyed. Their quarantine had kept them isolated for centuries. Open a channel to the conclave flagship, Alan ordered. The alien commander's face appeared on screen. He had gray skin and 4 eyes that blinked in surprise. This is Admiral Blackwood of the Outcast Coalition. Your mission ends here. The alien recovered from his shock. Humans. Impossible. Return to your quarantine immediately or be destroyed. We're not alone, Alan replied. And we're not going anywhere. The coalition ships attacked. They moved like Kate Daniels had taught them, splitting into small groups, hitting from different angles, then coming together again. The conclave ships were not ready for this kind of fight. They were used to enemies who stood still and fought head-on. Dr. Lisa Reeves watched from her lab on the Defiance. She had spent the last year working with scientists from 7 species to create special weapons. These weapons didn't destroy ships but disabled them, shutting down their power without killing the crews. Target their engines and communication systems, she told the weapons officers. Show them we can stop them without slaughter. The battle lasted 3 hours. When it ended, 12 coalition ships were damaged, but only 2 were destroyed. The Conclave fleet was floating powerless, unable to move or call for help. At the same time, similar battles happened in 2 other systems. The coalition forces led by Kate Daniels saved 1 world completely. At the 3rd world, they arrived late. The Conclave had already started bombing 1 continent. Millions died before the coalition could stop them. News of these battles spread quickly. The Conclave couldn't keep it secret. For the first time, the wider galaxy learned about the quarantined species and the coalition that united them. On the Defiance, Alan received reports from all 3 battlefields. "We did it," Peter said, his voice tired but proud. "We stopped them." But at what cost? Alan looked at the images from the world they hadn't completely saved. "Those people died because we weren't fast enough. They died because the Conclave decided they should," Sam reminded him. "Don't forget who started this." Grace entered the bridge with surprising news. "We're getting signals from inside Conclave territory. Some of their member worlds are asking questions. They didn't know about the quarantines or the final solution plan. This was unexpected. The coalition had planned to fight the Conclave, not split it apart. But now there was a new possibility. Allies from within. The truth is our most powerful weapon, Alan realized. The Conclave kept secrets from their own people. Now those secrets are coming out. As the disabled Conclave ships were towed away, a message arrived from Earth. The government had voted unanimously to officially recognize and support the coalition. Humanity was fully committing to the fight. "This is no longer a shadow war," Alan told his crew. "This is a revolution, and it's just beginning." Arentine Systems. The final solution had begun early. Alan looked around at the representatives of species that once had been strangers but were now allies. "The Conclave thought they could make us disappear," he said. "But instead they helped create something new, something stronger than any single world could be alone. It's time to show them what the outcasts can do." The Shadow War was about to begin. The next 6 months changed everything. The battles over the 3 quarantined worlds were just the beginning. What followed was something no one expected, not the coalition, not Earth, and certainly not the Conclave leaders. The truth spread across the galaxy like wildfire. Younger species who had joined the Conclave recently were shocked to learn about the quarantined worlds. Many had been told that the Conclave protected all intelligent life. Now they discovered that wasn't true. Olivia Banks led this information campaign. Once a teacher on Earth, she now worked as the coalition's main diplomat. She traveled secretly to Conclave worlds that seemed unhappy, bringing proof of what their leaders had done. "We don't want war," she told them. "We want freedom for all, species to choose their own path." The oldest Conclave species, the ones who had ruled for thousands of years, tried to stop the truth. They called the coalition dangerous rebels and said that quarantines were necessary to protect galactic peace. But fewer and fewer people believed them. When 3 Conclave member worlds announced they wanted to leave the Conclave and support the coalition instead, the old leaders sent ships to force them to stay. This made more worlds angry. Soon, 12 worlds declared themselves neutral in the growing conflict. Admiral Blackwood met with the Coalition Council. Representatives from what was now 27 formerly quarantined species sat around a large table. "The Conclave is weakening," he said. "They're fighting among themselves. This is our chance." "Chance for what?" asked the Azuri leader Keltor. "For revenge?" "For freedom," Alan replied. "For all of us. Not just to escape our own quarantines, but to end the quarantine system forever." The council voted unanimously to launch Operation Sunrise, a plan to destroy the barrier generators that kept all quarantined worlds imprisoned. It would be the biggest operation in Coalition history. Major Kate Daniels, now a general, designed the attack plan. The barriers around our worlds are controlled from space stations at the edge of each system, she explained. If we hit all of them at the same time, the Conclave won't be able to respond to every attack. On Earth, people watched the sky with hope and fear. Many had gotten used to the barrier over the past 35 years. Some even felt safe with it there, protecting them from the galaxy that had rejected them, but most wanted the chance to be free. The Earth fleet gathered above the planet. At its center was the UES Redemption, Admiral Blackwood's new flagship. It was larger than the Defiance and carried the most advanced weapons and shields the Coalition had developed. This is where it all began, Alan said, looking at Earth below. With one planet judged unworthy. Dr. Lisa Reeves stood beside him, on the bridge. Her hair was white now, but her eyes were as sharp as ever. And it ends with 27 planets proving that judgment wrong. Across the galaxy, Coalition ships moved into position near each barrier control station. They used their phantom drives to slip through defenses undetected. Every captain waited for the signal to attack. In his quarters, Alan took out the small Earth flag he had carried since the day the Conclave quarantined humanity. He remembered Ambassador Carter's face when the aliens had delivered their verdict. Carter had died 10 years ago, never seeing Earth free. Alan made a silent promise to him and to all those who hadn't lived to see this day. The countdown reached 0. Alan gave the order that would change the galaxy forever. All ships, commence Operation Sunrise. Thousands of Coalition ships appeared. Near Con, the fall of the barrier stations changed everything. Free ships moved between stars that had been separated for centuries. People who had never seen anyone from outside their own worlds met beings from dozens of different species. It was a time of wonder and new beginnings, but it was also a time of conflict. The oldest Conclave species fought hard to maintain their power. They sent warships to recapture freed worlds. For 6 months, battles raged across the galaxy. Both sides won and lost. Then something unexpected happened. During a major battle near what had once been Azuri space, 3 Conclave warships suddenly turned and fired on their own fleet. They had switched sides. More defections followed. Junior species within the Conclave who had been unhappy for years saw their chance for change. They joined the Coalition, bringing knowledge of Conclave weaknesses and technology. 1 year after Operation Sunrise began, the old Conclave leadership surrendered. Their empire, built on secrets and control, had collapsed from within. The galaxy needed something new to replace it. Representatives from over 100 worlds gathered on a neutral planet to discuss the future. The meetings lasted for weeks. Some wanted to punish the old Conclave leaders. Others wanted to go back to their own worlds and have nothing to do with galactic politics ever again. Admiral Alan Blackwood, now nearly 70 years old, spoke to the gathered representatives. "We have a rare opportunity," he said. "We can build something better than what came before. Not an empire that rules through fear, but a community that grows through cooperation." Many agreed with him. After months of debate, they formed the Stellar Commonwealth, a new galactic organization based on respect for all intelligent species, regardless of their evolutionary path or cultural practices. No world would be quarantined. No species would be judged as unworthy. Each planet could develop in its own way, but all would benefit from shared knowledge and protection. Earth played a key role in forming this new commonwealth. Humans, once seen as too unpredictable and dangerous, were now valued for those very qualities. They brought new ideas and approaches that other species hadn't considered. 50 years after being judged unworthy by the Conclave, humanity stood at the center of a new galactic order, not as conquerors but as catalysts for change. On the day the Stellar Commonwealth was officially formed, a ceremony was held in the new council hall. Representatives from all member worlds attended wearing their traditional clothes and bringing gifts from their cultures. Ryan Mitchell represented Earth. He was young, born after the barrier fell. He had grown up in a world that looked to the stars with hope instead of resentment. As he signed the Commonwealth Charter, he remembered the stories his grandfather had told him about the day the aliens came and told humans they weren't good enough for the galaxy. The stars belong to no single species, Ryan said in his speech, but to all who have the courage to reach for them. In the audience, Lisa Reeves sat in a wheelchair, her body old, but her mind still sharp. She had lived to see her phantom drive technology transform into peaceful transportation used by billions. Beside her sat Grace Martinez and Peter Collins, also in their final years. They watched as their long fight for freedom ended in victory, not just for Earth, but for all worlds that had been pushed aside and forgotten. As the ceremony ended, news arrived that explorers from 3 different Commonwealth species had discovered a new intelligent race, developing on a distant world. The Commonwealth voted immediately to establish peaceful contact and offer friendship. The cycle would not repeat. The mistakes of the past would not be made again. Back on Earth, children looked up at the night sky and saw not barriers and limits, but endless possibilities. Ships from dozens of worlds visited daily, bringing traders, tourists, and scholars eager to learn about the planet that had changed the galaxy. Earth had indeed built an empire, not of conquest, but of ideas. Not through domination, but through perseverance. The humans who had been banished by the galaxy had helped create a better one in its place. And that was the greatest victory of all: clave barrier stations and opened fire. The carefully planned attack caught the conclave completely by surprise. Barrier stations began to fall one after another. Above Earth, the Redemption led the assault on the Sol barrier control. The station's defenses were strong, but no match for the combined might of humanity and their allies. As the station exploded in a bright flash, the shimmer that had surrounded Earth's solar system for 35 years flickered and disappeared. The barrier was gone, Earth was free, but the revolution was far from over.